But since 1652, South Africa got to experience the beginning of settler colonialism. Where those who were supposed to be passing through the Cape as a stop-by point in their trade between Europe and part of the east of the world, in particular India, Indonesia, they used to stop by the Cape because there was no direct connection from Europe into the east. They had to necessarily pass through they had to pass through the Cape as part of the stop-by when they were doing global trade with other parts of the world. But from 1652, South Africa got to experience settler colonialism, which mutated over time to take different forms and shapes. But whatever form and shape it took, it was defined fundamentally by the exclusion and suppression, oppression of the indigenous people who were found here in a country called South Africa. So majority of our people were subjected to wars of dispossession. Their land was taken, their animals were taken, everything else that belonged to the indigenous people were taken. And that did not happen without resistance. There are so many wars and battles of resistance against colonialism that took place. There are so many attempts to fight against colonialism that happened. But overall, the black majority, Africans in particular, who were found here in ownership and control of the land with their own systems, were ultimately conquered. We have to face the reality, South Africa, that since 1652, the conquest that occurred on our people is still a reality to this day, because the features of conquest is land dispossession, is wealth dispossession, is identity dispossession, is cultural dispossession, is cultural suppression, is social suppression, to the extent that we view ourselves as of lesser human beings as compared to those that came from outside as settler colonialists that got to dominate all over us. And you would know that after years of colonial suppression and settlement in this country we call South Africa today, the whites fought amongst themselves in the late 1800s, but they then reached a conclusion amongst themselves in the early 1900s, in 1902, that they must constitute a South African state that is going to exclude the black majority from meaningful political, economic, and social participation. That process led to the launch or inauguration of the Union of South Africa in the year 1910. So in the year 1910, the Union of South Africa was inaugurated as a country. And that, by the way, happened due to an act of parliament which was passed by the British Parliament in the year 1909, which was called the Union of South Africa Act. The Union of South Africa was a product of the unification of the colonial settlements of the Cape, which to this day is still the Northern, Eastern, and Western Cape, of the Natal colony, which is constituted by majority of what is the province of KwaZulu-Natal, but also of Transvaal and the Orange River.